and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open the meeting for comments from the public at this time. Anybody from the public wish to address, may do so at this time. You'll have another chance at the end of the meeting. I close that section of the meeting. Minutes of the previous meeting. You'll have copies. Is there any additions or deletions?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Motion by trustee Menard and seconded by trustee Jefferson. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carried. Bills.
Mr. Mayor, you've got another set of minutes.
Regular and special.
Oh, I should have said regular and special.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
I
did have a comment on the special meeting.
Oh, then go ahead.
All right, the comment was on the motion on Mr. Clodia's salary should have included that all of that salary will come from grant funds, from no other source. And it doesn't specify that in here. We did talk about that at the meeting. And that's we very clearly understood that the village does not pay Mr. Clodia any money out of village funds. Every nickel comes from grant funds, even though we have to pay it up front and get reimbursed. We're still waiting on that, from what I understand. So, take that as a clarification, or whatever.
You made a motion, you want to...
Yep. I'll amend my motion to include the
Minutes as corrected.
minutes as corrected.
And I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. You all have copies of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Any Arsen?
No additions, deletions.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion by trustee Jefferson, seconded by trustee Menard. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Any of those opposed, motion carried. Correspondence.
We have none.
Thank you. Report of mayor and board of trustees. Tonight I have a resolution, and I'm going to ask the village clerk to read that resolution.
This has to do with the upcoming election. Notice is hereby given to the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point. Will on this 5th day of January 2004 presented this resolution. Whereas the next general election for officers will be held on March 16, 2004, and whereas no person shall be entitled to vote at any village election whose name does not appear in the register of the election district in which he or she claims to be entitled to vote, and whereas it is the duty of the inspectors of election to prepare such a register of qualified voters for the district for which they are appointed, and whereas the village officials have chosen to hold a registration date for the general election, now therefore be it resolved that 1, the inspectors of election shall meet upstairs at the village complex at 139 Lake Street on the 18th day of February 2004, beginning at 8:30 a.m. and ending at 4 p.m. to commence the preparation of the register for the forthcoming village election. Number 2, registration for the village shall be held on Saturday the 6th of March 2004. Number 3, such registration shall be held at the village office at 139 Lake Street, Rouses Point, New York, from 12 o'clock noon until 5 p.m. Number 4, voting for the forthcoming village election shall be conducted at Halstead Hall, Rouses Point Civic Center, 39 Lake Street, Rouses Point, New York. The polls will be open from the hours of 12 noon until 9 p.m. Number 5, at least 10 days prior to the registration day set in this resolution, a copy of such resolution shall be published in the official newspaper and a copy be posted in at least one conspicuous public place in each election district. This resolution shall take effect immediately. The question of the foregoing will duly put to a vote on a roll call.
Put that in form of a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote. Trustee Menard.
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow.
Aye.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. And that's it for me. Trustee Menard.
First item on the agenda tonight is the new line worker apprentice program. It will be beginning this year, April 13th, will be the beginning of the line worker class. It will consist of 4 years, 4-year program. The cost is around $3,000 per student, and I would just like to get approval to this. I believe we have 2 people that are interested in taking the class, and I believe that I believe we can never get enough training. It's been a good class for Mr. Clark. I believe it's still a good class, and it will be good for the two employees that we have.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the line worker apprentice program for 2 individuals.
Motion made by trustee Menard, seconded by trustee Jefferson. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, all those, wait a minute. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
A second item is a resolution. Whereas the Village of Rouses Point owns and operates an electrical system in connection therewith is a member of the Municipal Electric Utility Association of New York State, MEUA. And whereas the MEUA has successfully negotiated a highly desirable MEUA NYPA global settlement with the New York Power Authority, NYPA, concerning the terms and conditions of our purchase of low-cost hydropower from New York Municipal Power Association. And whereas Governor Pataki has approved the hydropower contract extension to September 1st, 2025. Therefore, be it resolved, we hereby adopt and hereby endorse the amendment to the contract. We also direct and authorize George A. Rivers, Mayor, to execute the amendment and to the contract on behalf of the Village of Rouses Point. And we need a roll call vote.
That a motion?
Yes.
Need a second?
Second?
Seconded by trustee Huckrow. Roll call vote. Trustee Menard.
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow.
Aye.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. And that is good news for us.
Very good. Very good.
Instead of 2013, it'll be 2025 where the hydro contract will run out.
And that's all I have for the agenda.
Thank you, trustee Menard. Trustee Huckrow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Update water project. I think we have a couple of things maybe tonight, Doug.
Yeah, just on the water storage tank, or the water improvement project contracts 3 and 4. Luck Brothers is essentially done with their work. They're looking at, we haven't had a punch list walkthrough yet. There's a possibility of having a job meeting this week, and so the word punch list will start being kicked around. And we've also had luck of stop work on the ceiling in the DE room, just because we've seen some leaks there, and we'll be talking with you more about that, about the DE room. And Dow Electric is on site. Really, the ball is in their court now, both at the new water storage tank interior and at the water plant. They're hooking up the instrumentation and everything. And that's really it for construction. Any questions?
We did get approval finally in writing from the health department, and the acknowledgement was on the new tank, and the acknowledgement said that we are obligated to provide the additional contact time to the piping network. Can you?
Yep, thank you. We did receive word from, just after our meeting, we received it on Tuesday from the county and the state that the project was approved as presented. And so the new water storage tank is online now. You are getting water from that tank. And also the water plant operators have noted that with that increased storage up in the air, what they're seeing more stability in the water that is going out to the community, that because it's got longer time to be in the air, exposed to the chlorine, that we're getting a good equilibrium. So out in the far reaches of the distribution system, we're seeing consistent readings of chlorine. That's good news for the operators. That's good news to the health department. That's good news for everybody. And the approval did include the serpentine piping to provide that extra contact time when we go to shut down for periodic inspection every 5-10 years for painting or for complete maintenance. And I think that's it. Any questions?
I have no questions. Very satisfied, finally.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Who do we have to talk with about going ahead and preparing the bid specs on the piping?
Well, essentially, the specs were done to the best of my knowledge because the idea was approved by the health department. So we could ask John Carr to go ahead and put together a little package and send that out and get the bid.
I think that we probably want to send out the package with and without installation.
Yeah,
Two different
that's an
options.
alternate, right. Yeah.
Just to make sure in case, Brian's gang doesn't have time to something happens that they're not able to. I know that the last I heard, he had some equipment that he was checking out to help with the installation and so on and so forth.
That pipe will be very heavy.
Yeah.
And the fittings, the elbows and whatnot are not plastic, they're ductile iron. And the pipe itself, even though it's plastic, it's 36-inch diameter, it's very thick walled. You'll need a crane to do that.
Doug,
Yeah.
you put that, excuse me, Chuck, are you done?
Never done, but go ahead.
That bid, how quick can we get that out? My thinking is that I'd like to see our packet put together and in the state's hands for that March. And once we get the bid out and award it,
Right,
then we've got the total figures and we can go for it.
right.
So
It shouldn't take long at all, it's not a complicated thing, it's just pipe.
I would assume buying the piping at this point in time too is gonna be a lot cheaper than buying it come say spring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the time to do it.
Do you happen to know if John Carr has everything else ready for that application that needs to be in March?
I would imagine he doesn't have everything. I would imagine he's like 90-95% there. But it would be pulling together some loose ends. But we should be able to get that in March. Most of the tough stuff's all been done. It's all behind us. Really, the final approvals from the health department, which we now have, was the critical path. So there's probably some small things, but there's no big things that we don't have.
So there's really no reason to miss the March deadline?
I wouldn't think so. No. So we could-
You check on that, Doug?
Yes, I will call John first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thanks, Doug. 4th of July celebration. This concluded the meeting before this meeting, and it has been agreed that Montgomery Hose, Hook and Ladder will sponsor the event, and so we'll be working with them, and the signatures on all of the documents will be co-signatures of Secretary Dennis Roberts and myself. So that'll be taken care of. One of the issues that came up tonight was that of having a dunking booth, which seems to bring in nice revenue, but there's also a concern about liabilities on it. And I did say I would bring it to the board to get their feelings, their thoughts, as to whether or not we should proceed.
Check with our insurance agent, maybe?
Well, the insurance agent, Phil checked with them last year, and, it could be a liable situation. We may go till the year 2700 without a problem, but 2701, you may have a problem. So, you got to be cautious about it. But I would like to feel it to the board. Not a decision that we wanted to just go ahead with one way or the other.
Who's gonna man the dunking?
It would be manned by members of the committee. Probably fire person, fire.
More than likely, yes.
Yeah. You want to think about it? Bring it up at another
Yeah,
meeting?
bring them next meeting.
Bring it up the next meeting? And
Yeah, we're not
there's no
looking
rush
for
on it
commitment
anyway.
right now.
Well, that's-
Think about-
That's before your next meeting besides.
And that's before our next meeting, right?
The thing to think about on that is, it's gonna be set up, it's not, like John said, anybody can get hurt, even if we don't have a Dunkin' booth walking down the street.
Right.
Someone could fall, trip, get hurt, it can happen. But the Dunkin' booth is gonna be under pretty much controlled circumstances. And we have to make it look, be more presentable, we can have EMT there, if someone does get hurt, I mean, it's not like it's gonna get out of hand, My own
But
opinion is the
accidents do
insurance
happen.
companies don't want you to do anything, because they just don't wanna pay, that's the bottom line. But as far as trying to get some revenue and make it interesting for, the people of our community, this is something, we hope that the board will, consider. Obviously, we'll go based on your recommendations,
Correct.
but hopefully just heavily consider that it's something that will be under very controlled circumstances. It's not gonna be just anybody going in there where they can get hurt. It'll be definitely as safe as possible.
And there's one other point that you could use in your deliberations on the issue, is that the fire department would like members of the village board to participate, not in throwing the balls at the thing, but in sitting there.
Absolutely. You guys can be each given 2-hour shifts, and we'll let you know when you're assigned.
You haven't got it.
I figure they'll make an awful bundle of money for them.
John, could you just repeat what you said earlier about the liability that Phil had checked into last year?
Phil did talk with Andre, was it Andre or who did you talk with? Andre last year, and there was, I don't know the specifics of it, but we could be sued. And since the fire department's running it, and they are part of the village, they're under the same plan. So can you be more specific in what you said?
Well, basically,
Remember?
one of the things, like the fireworks, for example, the company provides us with an insurance certificate of liability, so should there be someone injured, it would go first to their insurance company. But when the village, the way it was explained to me, and Jason is basically right, insurance companies don't want to pay, and they just assume you didn't do anything, so there's no possibility of incurring any liability. But so anything that you do, last year it was discussed, one of the things, for example, was wood carving. Well, if someone gets hurt and somebody gets something in the eye from a flying wood chip, well, you have a liability. And, you might go, like John said, 20 years, 50 years and never have a case. But you're just exposing yourself, and those are the words that were used, to liability that could be very costly to the village.
Unfortunately, we are exposed every day by
Yeah, we
every
are.
person in this village,
Yeah, but
or outside.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's the same as bringing a carnival, and we're still liable for anything that the carnival is.
And then
Even
if
though
a child
people-
falls or someone gets hurt walking down, they're gonna get it, but this
We're
is
gonna
more
sidewalk.
controlled circumstances.
So it's,
So let's think about it and bring it up at the next meeting.
okay.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, trustee Huckrow. Trustee Penfield.
The first item I have tonight is an update on the new fire truck, which I guess is scheduled to arrive Wednesday afternoon, still
Hopefully
on
between
schedule,
3 and 4 o'clock.
between 3 and 4 o'clock. I had a phone call last night from Bruce Siegman, who is the chairman of the truck committee. He's very excited. He's going to greet it at Racine's Mobile. I suggested a police escort down Lake Street. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but it's been a long time coming. Hopefully it'll serve the department and the village very well. So I think they have some training throughout the rest of the week. Is that true?
Thursday and Friday, there will be pump training for the operators, and on Saturday will be a 6-hour class for the CAF system, which is the foam system. And we're gonna have that set up for hopefully everyone shows, because you're not gonna run the truck until you get that knowledge under your belt. And if that goes well, this Saturday evening, the truck will be online.
Wonderful. Very good.
We'll do a special workout to get the hose and make sure everything's all set to go. So hopefully Saturday, if all goes well.
Great. So definitely Wednesday. Okay.
99%.
What's that?
99%.
99%, good, okay. Great, okay. The second item I have is a need to declare surplus on some materials from the fire department, actually. 8 Scott 2.2 air packs, which are the self-contained breathing apparatus, and we are declaring them surplus at their request, and it is my understanding that they already are earmarked to go to a couple of other departments in the area. So we don't need a vote on that, right, Phil?
I'm not sure. I believe so.
We do. So I will make that a motion.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Penfield, seconded by trustee Menard. Any discussion? Being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And the last item I have also involves the fire department. We received a letter from them, I think at our second meeting in November, regarding a couple of issues that they were looking for some attention to. One of them deals with possible acquisition of the property behind the fire department, which is on Bayshore Drive. And in light of the fact that we are working now on the budget, I just wanted to ask all of you to keep that in the back of your minds, think it over. I know we'll be having our budget workshops and our budget meetings, but it's something that we might want to consider to be able to help them out. So, that's it.
That's what we talked to Mr. Bayshore.
I did. I spoke with him, and he certainly would have no problem with us purchasing the property, and he has agreed to give us right of first refusal while we're deliberating over whether or not this is going to happen. So if someone approaches him regarding that property, then he will give us a call to see whether or not we want it.
How much would it be, you know? Did he say?
He's selling the lots for $22,000.
20,000.
Now, whether or not that,
We don't get a
comes
family
past, I
discount?
don't know. But that's what he and I spoke about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just something for us to think about over the next few weeks.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, trustee Penfield. Trustee Jefferson.
I don't have anything to report tonight.
Thank you, trustee Jefferson.
No speech?
Taking a lot of heat.
No, I'm not, nothing tonight. No.
I have one announcement. January 20th meeting will be at 6:30 and not at 7. That's for you, sir. And everybody else. Bill?
I have
Clerk?
I have just a couple things tonight. One of the things I'm asking the board to consider is to allow me to recruit and fill the part-time typist position that was vacated by the resignation of Lisa Cardin in early December. I feel we have a need to. We're going to be having more change in the office, I believe, as the spring and summer unfolds, and I believe it's necessary to fill the item.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to, you're gonna put it in the paper, Phil, or how are you gonna announce it?
Yes, a recruit, I'm putting paper. It's non-competitive because it's 20 hours or less, so we're not going to be filling from a civil service list. We'll be doing it very similar to the way we did with Lisa, putting that in paper and going from there and interviewing.
You second?
I'll second.
Motion made by trustee Jefferson, seconded by trustee Menard. Is there any other discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And the last thing I have, at our April 7th, 2003 meeting, a motion was approved by the board. It was made by trustee Huckrow, and it was approved by the board to purchase a total of 200 tons of rock salt for the roads. It was reported to me that we are very low on the balance that we have left, seeing that we've had several heavy snowfalls and so forth. When the OGS requirement letter came out, we are required to take 70% of what we put on that requirement letter. So instead of 200 tons, I put in a request for 250 tons, but we still only purchased 200 tons. So what I'm saying is we have actually a balance available if we want it at the state contract price of an additional 50 tons. And I'm told by our public works people that we need this or should get this. Last year when I started, we ran out and we had to buy additional rock salt on the what I call the open market, and we paid nearly double per ton what we paid on state contract. So I'm just throwing that out. I can't purchase more unless you people approve it. We have the money in the budget to do it, but I'm just throwing that out to see whatever you folks would like to do.
Buy it. We have cool weather coming in too.
And starting to cold bit.
I have a problem.
How do we?
Whether or not you have noticed, there's been a lot of attention given to the use of road salt this year. Our Assemblyman, Roth is, I don't know if he's done it yet, but there will be a bill in the legislature concerning the overuse of road salt. There was a considerable portion of Channel 5's news special, part of it was even about New York. The other time, talking about the use of road salt and other agents on our road. I don't mind using road salt, but overuse of road salt, I do mind. If we need to get 250 tons, then we should get 250 tons. But if we're not using a mix that is more sand and less salt, then we ought to be looking at that and maybe adding more salt and sand to that, to the
I believe, John, that most of the road itself is a good salt sand mix. I think where most of that is being used is on the sidewalk.
Well, I think that it doesn't make any difference where it's being
No, I'm
used.
just saying.
It's still running into the lake,
Can
and
we
it's still damaging people's lawns.
Can we mix the side?
You know, I think
You
that
can,
we,
but it doesn't work as effectively.
you know, if we need to get another 50 tons later on, but that doesn't mean that we should just go out and start broadcasting sand around, salt around the neighborhoods either. You know, I think we ought to be a little careful about the mixture that we're using. And when, what did they say? They've got 70 tons left? 50 tons left out of the 200, but that's not mixed. But they also have a huge pile that is mixed. How much is in that, do you know?
I don't know if Brian was here, you probably can tell me, but he's not.
I have no idea. I know they got, most of the shed is filled with sand and salt mix,
Yeah,
and that's what they use on the road.
right.
And they use mostly, like I say, salt on the sidewalk, basically, because it powers the sidewalk in a hurry.
About 10 tons of that salt mixed into the sand. Rough guess. Out of the 20 tons, about 10 of it's probably mixed in with the 50 tons of sand.
So we don't want people falling, you know, slipping on the roads or on the sidewalks, but I think that sand
Yes, sir.
works at least as well as the salt.
So are you
I
approving the
agree.
purchase of the other?
I would say this, if necessary, let's wait, and if necessary, later
Yeah.
on in the winter, get that, because we're not limited, I'm sure.
We have a
we're
deadline,
certain
no?
about it. What's the latest date we can order that?
I can't tell you that. The problem with waiting is we have the option of only purchasing 70% of our requirement request, which we've already done. We've met that obligation. Conversely, the contractors are only obliged to provide 70%. So the longer we wait, we're taking the chance that at the time we need it and we ask for it, we might not be able to get it, which would then force us to go to the open market and pay the higher
Can you
price.
find out what the latest date that we could be assured of getting it?
I don't think, I can ask, but I don't think they'll tell us because last year they were very emphatic when we tried to get more on the state contract.
I know, but we still have that option, which we didn't have last year, right? When
Right,
had to
because
go out
we
to
had
the market.
requested more than last year. We had 175 tons, and we purchased the entire thing, and we ran out, and I think we ended up buying close to 75 more tons, but I can't remember exactly.
But that was in March, wasn't it?
It was in March.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying if we ask for it now, order it now, even if we ask for delivery the end of February or mid-February, something like that, and then whatever you want.
I guess it'd be my question is, I agree with John, you know, we should use it sparingly. If we buy this extra 50 tons, will that keep till next year?
Well,
Do we have a place to put it
Yeah,
where it's not gonna get,
well, that's the other thing too.
That's
we
the salt
stash
store in
it.
the shed.
okay, so I mean, if we buy it and it's in there, if we don't use it, we use it next year. I mean, I agree with you, you know, we should use it as sparingly as we can, but we also have a lot of people that walk in this village.
You're absolutely right, we don't want.
Every
anybody-
day, and I agree with George, we want the sidewalks. I mean, that's one of our perks in this village is we have sidewalks to walk on, and everybody
And we
does a lot of walking, and we clean them.
People-
And we do a good job of
The
it.
comments from the people that you're getting right now, you can't believe it. It's how bad the sidewalks are.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, so let's use it sparingly on the roads and use it as sparingly as we can and everywhere else, but, I mean, if we need to buy it, we're still gonna get a better price than what we're gonna get next year if we don't use it.
Yeah.
You know, if we have it in the budget, we might as well buy it and then we can store it if we don't use it, correct? So,
I won't make a motion. but
I'll make a
But I'll go
motion.
along with
I
the
think the motion's
motion,
made.
with the understanding that it's looked at carefully, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I need a second to the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by trustee Menard, seconded by trustee Jefferson. Is there any other discussion? There being no other discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried, and the motion better say what Mr. Huffer wants, or he'll scalp me. That it, Phil?
I've caused enough trouble.
Thank you. Arsen?
Talk to you tomorrow.
I need a little board direction concerning the bond issue on the new fire department pumper. I was asked by the board at the previous meeting to get rates for callable, non-callable, and I couldn't do that until now because of the fact that the bond resolution that was passed was subject to permissive referendum according to local finance law, and it had to be published and all that, posted and all that stuff, and we wait 30 days. Well, we're past that 30-day period now, even though there is another posting we have to do, we can go out and get that money now. According to the bond resolution, the useful life of that fire apparatus is a 20-year useful life. Now that means that we don't have to go out and bond for 20 years. In fact, the bank that I contacted, and I talked to bond counsel also, is that most of the banks will not go past a 10-year period. So the rates that they gave me for a 10-year issue is 5%. They said don't hold them to that, but I think it's going to change a lot in the next couple of days. You have basically three options, I guess. One is if you want to take out a bond anticipation note and keep renewing it for 5 years and then go out for a 10-year issue, but who knows what the interest rates are going to be in 5 years from now, because most of the interest rates are like the lowest they've ever been in our lifetime. Another thing is speaking to the bank, they will issue a 10-year bond, but then at the end of 10 years, you have to go out and rebid it again to go out for another 10 years to make it the 20 years. We don't know what the interest rates will be in 10 years. And I guess the other thing is just to go out for, I got 5% rate for approximately for 10 years, 4.6 for 7 years, and 4.25 for 5 years. So I need some direction from.
What would be our yearly payment?
Well, if you go for a 10-year issue, it's going to be the principal payment is going to be $20,350 on this issue, plus you're paying another $5,872 principal payment to the state for the first part of this payment, and then you have your interest on top of that. Just the
Figure somewhere around $30,000 a year.
at least, yes. The principal payment's going to be a little over 26.
The board understand what he's saying?
Arsen, are you saying it's impossible to get a 20-year issue?
Yes.
Because you said most of the banks, so there's no one who's doing that.
Well, I'm not going to say no one, but you'd have to go nationwide for it. And I don't, talking to bond counsel today, he says most of the banks won't go past 10 years. At least at this
And they
time.
require you to reapply for the next 10.
Right.
Okay.
I think you can see the reason why, because they know darn well the interest rates are going to go up.
Yep.
And right now they're low.
Why do we go to more expenses than we do?
And the callable versus non-callable issue that we had talked about previously, that's new because it's the same rate for either one.
So it
So,
doesn't make a difference.
what we could do is go out I suggest we go out for a 10-year issue, callable, and if something happens and we can't afford it, call in that bond issue and go out and rebond it again. The other way, if you take bond anticipation though and keep renew it, then you got, not only do you have all this paperwork, but you keep paying bond counsel all the time. And
The interest rates go.
that adds to your interest costs, and Lord knows how the interest rates are going to be.
I need.
Make a motion that we go out for the 10-year bond.
What he has, what the treasurer has suggested.
Yes.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Menard, seconded by trustee Penfield. Is there any other discussion? Do you need a roll call vote on that, Phil?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Trustee Menard.
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow. Aye. Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson. Aye. And the mayor votes aye.
And like I said, that 5% may be up a little or down a little bit depending
Hope it goes down.
hopefully.
Can I just clarify the motion? You're making the motion to go out for a 10-year callable bond at 5% per year.
That's
Yes.
Yep.
And just make sure I have it straight.
Anything else, Arsen?
No, that's it.
That's enough trouble. Brian's not here. Dougie? Hold on.
Got your different.
Oh, your resolution, yes. Oh, thank you.
You never had any.
What's that?
I said, you never have anything.
This bond resolution, basically all it is, it's just amending the budget to reflect the outstanding purchase orders at the end of last fiscal year. So basically, in the general fund, we are increasing our appropriated fund balance $1,264. We're increasing the appropriations $1,264. The capital project fund, we're increasing appropriated fund balance $210,815. Appropriations $210,815. Under the water capital project fund, we are increasing our appropriated fund balance $240,113 and increasing the appropriation account $240,113. So we need to put that to a motion.
So move. Second.
Motion by trustee Huckrow, seconded by trustee Menard. Any discussion? There being no discussion, roll call vote. Trustee Menard.
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow. Aye. Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. Mr. Ferris, sir.
I'm all set. Thank
You're all set? Well, thank you. Open meeting of public at this time.
Yes, Dennis Roberts, Smith Street, Rouses Point. As a 4th of July committee member, I want to take advantage of Hometown Cable and extend an invitation to anybody who is interested in being chairperson for the parade. I know that the chairperson from last year is very close to saying yes.
Oh, no, he isn't.
But if there's anybody out there that is would like to participate and help organize the parade, the committee is looking for somebody to take on that challenge. If somebody's interested, see Mr. Huckrow. Thank you.
Is that it?
I didn't say a word to it.
No, I know you.
I got a couple things. Ben Arnold, Rouses Point, or State Street, Rouses Point. The water project, is that still on the go?
Yeah, it's about another.
The dock and stuff like that?
Waterfront?
The
Waterfront.
Yeah.
Yes, waterfront project is still on the go.
Is that gonna raise the village taxes?
I don't know where that concept came, that we're gonna raise taxes $1.23 a thousand. But that is so far from the truth. I mean, it's
I just
unbelievable.
wanna know. So it's not gonna raise the taxes?
Not that I know of at this point. I'm gonna tell you right now. I mean, this board would be foolish to even to attempt to do something like that. The money is there for the state. We have to put money up front, what they call upfront money. But that money is ours and it will always remain ours. We use it, but it comes back. But how much we put up and what we do, that has not been decided yet. as far as raising the tax rate, $1.23 a thousand for $100,000 for that waterfront, that is not anywhere near the truth.
Okay.
Can I,
Yes.
then, on any project of that sort, there is matching funds, okay? But the matching part of that is in-kind services, in labor, in materials and whatever that we do. One of the projects that we're doing, as you know, is underground electrical on Montgomery Street. That will qualify us for about $400,000 worth of something or other like that, of our share of it. So that's where, I mean, you know, they don't give us anything, but we're gonna do these projects anyway, and we can use them. It's the same as when we're doing downtown. We counted the light posts, which didn't cost us anything. We were able to count the facade on the village, but that did cost us some money. But we were able to count those things toward any portion that we have to put in.
I believe the assessment on the land itself was also.
And the assessment on the land, right?
Yeah.
Another thing, on the street light by Armin, I hear you gotta order another one or whatever.
Already ordered.
No, but I'm saying, wouldn't it be logical if you ordered two of them?
We will have a spare.
We will
A spare? Like, I wanted to tell you that when we ordered the light, like to put one by the fire station, and if we ever did need to have an extra one, we could always take the one by the fire station down and use it someplace else.
We will have a spare. And again,
Oh, okay.
I believe that is not going to cost us any money, is it, Phil? That's,
The cost for the new one that we're getting, we're having the damaged one repaired and we're getting the new one. It's gonna be around $2,200 American money. And I have contacted Mike Lyons from Honeywell, who handles our IEP money, along with Bill Berry out of Colorado. And he seemed to be very positive that we will be able to use our IEP money funds to pay for the new one, not for the repairs to the other one, but for the new one. Of course, that'll there again will connect to the fact, once we pay for it, we'll submit the bill, and optimistically they will pay for that.
so in fact, Benny, we will have one.
One spare?
Yeah.
By the way,
Is there any-
you're the guy that found these lights for us. I don't know if everybody knows that.
Anyhow, I got one more question.
Benny, I mean, I know you went out and found the lights. Is there any way that we could put up that other light without too much work, underground cable or whatever, in front of the fire department?
Yeah, because the
I mean,
underground is
instead-
there now. I mean,
I
the
mean,
light is there.
Instead
the
of putting
the
it somewhere
aluminum
where
right
it's
there.
gonna get broke or gonna get,
Well, that's what I say,
you know,
There's no reason we can't do that at all.
yeah.
why can't we do that? I mean, that is a good idea.
It's something we can look at.
And one other thing, on the sidewalk, the salt on the sidewalk, you're not supposed to put salt on them bricks downtown, unless they have the coating on them. And we haven't put a coating on them since we put them in. We used to put a coating on them, and after that, after 1 year, we never put another coating on. And the salt is gonna really eat up them bricks.
They're coming out, aren't they?
No,
Oh, they are?
not at this point.
Not at this point.
Oh, I thought they were coming out.
No.
Like to
The
do
state,
some
the state won't do anything for it, don't it? We asked.
I know the state said last time that they wouldn't do nothing because it was, we were the ones that put them in. We were the one that had to maintain them.
No, they put them in under the contract,
Well,
but we
we
were
asked
watching
for
it.
Well, that's it, yeah.
But we asked for them.
That's right.
What kind of coating you gotta put on, like a?
Sealer.
Sealer.
Yeah, a smack sealer, yeah.
Maybe that's what we should do in the spring, huh?
We seriously gotta look at that sidewalk for it next year.
Yes, we do.
That's a tough shape.
Yeah. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we're ready for adjournment.
So move. Second.
At 8:40.
7.